I got a package in the mail and I'm pretty freaking excited. This is awesome. So check this out. Alright, so we have this little box here. We're going to open this up and we're going to find out what's in here. And look at that. This is a brand spanking new card. This thing is beyond fast. The two phone lenses that you're seeing are actually because this is a reviewer's kit because this was sent to me by SanDisk. The big reason you're watching this video today is because of this little guy right here. Now I can't even begin to stress this enough. With this little guy right here, you have got to have a USB 3.0 card reader. They are recommending the ImageMate USB 3.0 card reader. I happen to have the Kingston Mobile Lite G3 card reader, and with this thing, I can read and write to my SanDisk Extreme Pro SD cards. The 64 gig Extreme Pro SD card is in my DSLR right now that I'm using to record this video, but I do have the 16 gigabyte Extreme Pro SanDisk card. Now, this is the older model. The newer ones are a completely different design, so it'll look different from this one right here, but the Extreme Pro is a little bit faster than the Extreme, but to the disadvantage, that's only 16 gigabytes. You're getting much less storage with the 16 gigabyte than you are the 64. And considering I'll be using this in my phone, I definitely don't mind having a little bit slower card, because you're still talking about like 50 to 60 megabyte write speeds and read speeds in excess of 80 megabytes per second compared to like the 64 gig micro SD Ultra. That's got a write speed of about 11 megabytes per second and a read speed of about 37 from my normal tests that I've run from it. So this should get you about 50 write. On average, it can do faster than that, up to 60, the stats say. And this will get you about 80 megabytes per second, at least on the read speed, and this will get you 37. So this Ultra is about 11 write, and the Extreme is 50 write. And the Ultra, it's 37 read, and this is about 80 read. So much faster speeds. Like I said earlier, I would so much rather have 64 gigabytes of maybe 50 megabytes per second write than the 16 gigabytes with about like 72 to 75 megabyte write. So I would definitely have the trade-off in speed versus the extra storage that you get with the 64 gig card. If you're someone that uses like the GoPro, for example, I'm sure you've set the max resolution to like, you know, a file size that's requires a faster write speed than your Ultra has, and then you find it shutting off every so often, and then you got to start recording again. That's because it's recording to the card so fast that your SD card cannot keep up with it. It just simply can't. So it stops and you've got to start again. Alternatively, even if your card is fast enough to keep up with it because you're at a lower resolution, you're taking that file and you're dragging it to your computer at about 37 megabytes per second. Now, if you have that same exact video on this card and you plug this one into your USB 3.0 card reader, you're going to transfer it about 80 to 90 megabytes per second to your computer. That's way faster than 37. So the sooner you can get that file from your card to your computer, the sooner you can start showing it to friends, the sooner you can start editing, etc. The purpose I have for this card is actually to put it inside my phone and move apps to it. On the Galaxy S4, they support moving apps to the SD card, and with the NVIDIA Shield, there's going to be an update soon that allows you to move the apps to your SD card. And if you have your apps on this SD card, anytime you're saving your game or it's writing files to that card, it can only go at the maximum speed this card allows. And even same thing with when it's loading the game, like when you're initially loading like Asphalt 8, for example, it's pulling all those files of the game from this SD card, which can only go so fast. But if you have that same exact game stored on this card, it's going to write your save to the card much faster, and it's going to pull the game from this card much faster than this one. So you're talking about like a 5 to 8 times speed change going from this card to this card. So it's definitely worth upgrading your card to the Extreme if you're someone that cares about speed. If you just say take pictures and record video, then you might be just fine with that card if you're using it for your phone, because you got plenty of storage, it's a cheaper card, and it'll handle your needs just fine. But if you plan on loading apps to your SD card, or if you use like a GoPro, for example, I definitely recommend getting this card instead. And one last thing I'm going to say real quick is the Note 3 is rumored to be able to shoot 4K video from its back camera. Now, if that's true, if that rumor holds and it's true, then it's going to require writing a file to that card faster than this card's going to possibly allow. 4K content is super high definition, so if you plan on shooting in really high resolutions, there's absolutely no reason why you should not go with the Extreme. It's going to be able to record that video to your card at really high speeds, and then when you go to edit that footage or upload it or anything, it's going to be able to pull it from that card at much faster speeds than this one. Now, I can sit there and talk stats all day long. I'm going to go ahead and put speed tests up on the screen now, and I'll be back. Alright, here we go. Now you're seeing the speed test of each card. What you're going to want to pay attention to the most are the middle screens, because the middle left and right speed tests are actually the 64GB Extreme. The one above that is the 16GB Extreme Pro, and then the one at the very bottom is just a standard, normal, cheapo SanDisk 16GB card. It does not tell me whether it's a class 2, 4, 6, or 10, but I'm assuming it's a class 2. You're going to see that the Extreme Pro is the fastest. But on the Extreme, the write speeds are very, very similar. Now, I know for a fact that my wife's desktop transfers files faster from the same exact Mobileye G3 USB 3.0 card reader with the same exact card than my laptop can. So your speeds are going to vary. We're using an Asus G74SX with 16GB of RAM, an i7 quad-core processor with hyper-threading, and a 480GB Corsair Force GT SSD. So now that you know what I'm working with, each test was ran individually. After each one was done, I moved on to the next one. On the left column, each of those speed tests were ran running the file from my computer to the SD card, and on the right column of your screen, all three of those speed tests were run transferring the file from the card to my computer's SSD. Now I want you to go ahead and pretend something real quick. Imagine this is you. Imagine this is your video file that you're trying to get from your SD card, or you're trying to get your camera to record a high resolution video to your card, or you're transferring a bunch of files like pictures and stuff from your camera to your computer. And just think for a second, which one of these cards would you rather have in your camera, in your GoPro, in your phone, in your tablet, and anywhere? Which one of these cards would you rather have? Do you want to wait 3 minutes or less for a almost 4GB file to finish transferring? Or do you want to wait several minutes for that file to transfer? Now I'm going to go ahead and speed up the footage here because I don't want you to have to wait several more minutes for this video to be finished. But seriously, I hope that I'm getting this through to your head and that I'm able to help you understand this. To transfer this file to this cheap card that you may have go, well, this one's cheaper, so I'll go ahead and get this one. It took as long to transfer the video file from my computer to that card. It took longer to do that than it did to do this entire video. For you to watch this entire video from start to finish. Just seriously, think about that for a minute. That's a long time, when if you paid a little bit more, you could have gotten a card that transfers a whole lot faster and you're doing a whole lot less waiting. You just saw how fast that was. Do you want to sit around waiting for files to transfer back and forth from your card to your computer, or your computer to your card, or your phone to your card, and your card to your phone, and etc.? No, you don't. It might be a little expensive, but I promise you, the time you're going to save in the long run, it is definitely worth it. If this video helped you out in any way at all, please do me a huge favor and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you don't leave without hitting that subscribe button. I've got many more videos coming very soon, and I'm actually going to do a separate video installing apps to this card and testing out how fast it loads the game. I'm going to install the same exact game on this card, and then I'm going to install the same exact game on this card, and I'm going to do, videos showing how fast it loads, like Asphalt 8 for example, how fast it loads from this card, and then how fast it loads from that card. And I will show you the real world differences, and you'll be able to judge for yourself on whether you think it's worth upgrading to the Extreme and getting a much, much, much faster card. This is What Would Josh Do? And I'm out.